What are keyframes in After Effects? Well, if you want to think of a keyframe as a container, then a keyframe is a container used to set parameters for different types of properties. And if you're brand new to After Effects, then these properties would be things like opacity, scale, position, anchor point, etc, etc. There's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of different things you could keyframe in After Effects. Every effect has keyframeable parameters. If you set one keyframe to be 1 and then you set another keyframe to be 5, then what After Effects is going to do is fill in the holes for you. So it'll go from 1 to 5, but After Effects is going to fill in the 2, 3, 4. So if we go here in After Effects really quick so I can show you, this is this composition that you're seeing. I set this up kind of so you could see what I'm doing in all the keyframes. If I come to any of these shapes, I can apply any effect I want from my effects and presets. And if you see here, there's two properties, and I can keyframe with the stopwatches. Everything on this has stopwatches. If you see any of these layers, they have stopwatch for anchor point, position, scale, rotation, opacity. So just to make an example, I'm gonna go here in my background, or this little line, whoops, and I'm gonna go here to the scale. So right now the scales is at 100, and I'm gonna keyframe it, and now there's this little rhombus thing, or diamond, whatever you want to call it. And then I'm gonna move forward in my timeline, and I'm gonna make this 50. And oh, I didn't do anything because my effect is turned off. So now it's 50, and look at what it's doing. Actually, this was the background. So it's going from 100 to 50, but it's not just jumping, it's filling in the holes, and it's going gradually from 100 to 50. And there's different types of keyframes. This is the one you're gonna see by default. So let's move on to the different types of keyframes. These are the 4 keyframes that I use the most. There's roving, there's linear, there's easy ease, and there's hold. And there's also ease in, ease out, and auto bezier, which is also a circle, just like roving. And well, what roving does is that, let's jump into After Effects so you can see it better. I have here my roving keyframe, and I have these 2 stars set up. So let's come here to the star that's not roved. If you can see these little lines, these points are kind of how long it takes for the star to travel from point to point every frame. So if I go frame by frame, you'll see that the star travels to each point every frame, and they're very close to each other. So this little travel takes way longer than this, which are far more spread apart, and you can just cycle through it, and it goes very fast because they're more spread apart. So what the roving keyframe allows you to do is that, this is my roving keyframe, is that it spreads them apart so that they're always spread apart equally. So if I go here to my keyframes, pressing E on my keyboard, here's my little roving keyframe, and if I go to the regular one, this would be the equivalent. I don't know where that's. So if I put them, so these 2 are the same, but you see how my roving keyframe is traveling faster here on top. But they're finishing at the same time. That's because these are spread apart. so that they're all at the same time or with the same speed. So if I come here, let me shut this off. If I come here to my regular star and I right click and then I choose or I pick rove across time, then it'll do the same thing. And what's cool about this is that if you move your last keyframe, then your roving keyframe moves with it, and this is not something that you can do with regular keyframes. So here's my regular keyframe. If I move this, my keyframe will stay the same. And now you see how these kind of change because I'm moving it really far away, so it takes really long for this to get there. And I'll talk about this in a second. So now it's linear. Now the linear is the one that After Effects creates automatically every time you keyframe something, and it's very abrupt. It starts out of nowhere. It doesn't look very dynamic. It's very robotic. You shouldn't, well, you could use it sometimes, but not all the time. You should always try to use some more natural motion, and that's exactly what the Easy Ease keyframe does. The Easy Ease keyframe, it starts off slowly, then it builds up, then it ends slowly, kind of like if you throw a baseball. Going from your hand, it'll, you know, probably start slower than when it's at its peak, and then it'll fall off. So if, let's see, if I jump back here into After Effects, here's my Easy Ease keyframe, and it's these little stopwatches, and you can get an Easy Ease keyframe by just clicking on a regular keyframe and then going to Keyframe Assistant and Easy Easing, or you can just click or press F9 on your keyboard. So just to kind of demonstrate, or so it's more clear what's going on here, these are my curves. This is a little bit more complex, this graph editor. But if I go here to my linear keyframe, you can see that the speed here, it's at 0, and then out of nowhere, poof, it goes up to what, like 585, and then it goes at 585 pixels per second until it gets to its final destination, and boom, it goes back down after one frame. So that's not very natural. But then the Easy Ease, it starts off slowly and it builds up to its peak, which is 1630, and then it slowly goes back down. So if you go here, what I was talking about earlier, that it takes one frame to get to those little points, here it's taking a lot slower, then boom, it shoots up and then down. So this is a lot more natural. And if you're serious about animating and motion graphics, this graph editor is exactly what you want to master. So if you want this to start really slow and then boom, ending quick, then you'll go here, oops, and then make it slower. So it takes, now here it's taking longer to get there, and then it's ending really quick. But that's something that I'll talk about another time. So this is really good if you're just starting out. By just enabling these, it's gonna make your things look way better. Now the last one is hold, which it's pretty self-explanatory. It's these little squares. It'll just hold your position until it changes. So instead of After Effects fitting in the gaps for you, it won't do that. It'll just go from 1 to 5 instantly. Or in the case of the stars, it's just kind of teleporting to their destinations. So let me talk about ease in and ease out. I like to think of them as kind of like half Easy Ease, because in a sense that they are. Ease ease out is kind of like, let me just demonstrate, because I can't really explain it. I thought I could, but it's actually a bit harder than I thought. So let me go here to my linear keyframes. So if I make these into easy ease and I go to my curves, then you'll see we have this beautiful curve, and I like to do this whenever I do make easy ease keyframes, so it's a little bit better. But let's leave it at default. So it'll make this curve, right? So it gradually goes up and down. But if I go here and set this to easy ease out, then it does the beginning of the curve, so it moves forward gently, and then it ends abruptly. So there's no easing in the end, it just ends. So here's this little curve down, and then boom, it just goes down. And the same is true with the other side of the coin. So easy ease in is the opposite, so it starts very abruptly, but then it ends very subtle with a little curve that everyone likes. So in a sense, it's half of easy ease. So if I turn this into easy ease, then we have that curve. So that's why I didn't put ease in and ease out in my little 4 preferable keyframes, because I just think it's, you know, half of easy ease, or maybe easy ease is both in one. Anyway, hey guys, so I just had to stop it because I just kept blabbing about stuff that really didn't matter. So just to keep you a little updated, I'm still studying, I'm still working and all that, so but I am more committed to making these videos, so I'm gonna try to put a video every 2 weeks or every week if I can, except midterms and finals week. Those weeks are intense. But yeah, I mean, I bought this microphone just for the tutorials, so you know, there's an investment, and when I spend money on something, I'm like, okay, I gotta do this now. So just expect more advanced tutorials. This tutorial is for you know, real beginners, and I know there's a lot of people that want more advanced stuff to kind of move on forward with their motion graphics and all that. So expect some more advanced tutorials, some tutorials with Cinema 4D, with Maya, with Element 3D and all that. If you like the channel, you're welcome to subscribe, you know, give the video a thumbs up and all that stuff. Any other things? Oh, if you have any tutorial requests, you can go to my website, and then in the in the tutorial page, if you scroll down, there's a little tutorial request. If not, you can just comment and then I'll answer, you know. Other than that, I think that's it. I just keep blabbing. I like talking. I can't stop talking. I'm just gonna stop myself now. Peace out.